Today on our talk show, we will cover critical media literacy topics used in education. We have three special guests that will address different issues in the classroom.
Our first guest today is Brianna Stevens, talking about Common Core state standards. Welcome, Brianna.
Thank you, Grace.
So tell me about the Common Core state standards.
Well, Grace, the Common Core State Standards is a major part of the education system in the U.S. It focuses on standards of kindergarten through 12th grade and what they should know in math and English language arts.
What are the critical issues?
The critical issues involves high stakes for standardized testing, discriminates against talents of students, and it only focuses on career goals and to get ready for college.
What are the pros and cons of this?
Well, the pros involve it helps improve rankings against other countries since the U.S. has fallen behind. It saves money on creating and scoring tests and allows states to compare scores with other states. And the cons involve difficult transitioning for students and teachers. The standards are broad, not specific at all, and it refers to high stakes testing.
Oh, I see. Who's at stake because of these?
Well, the three main stakeholders are parents, teachers, and the students. And I have a fact that less than 40% of adults and less than half of parents have heard of Common Core state standards.
Wow, interesting. What are your opinions on this?
Well, I think that there are many pros and cons, but there are more cons than pros. The Common Core state standards is more teacher-directed than student-directed. There's no room for creativity because the teachers have to follow the modules to teach the students. And there is no room for hands-on activity as well. If I were a future educator, I would incorporate more hands-on learning, but still stick to the standards because all children learn differently.
Oh, very interesting facts. Thanks for coming to the show today, Brianna.
Thanks for having me.
That's Grace Bullis discussing assistive technology issues. Welcome, Grace.
Thanks for having me.
Assistive technology.
Assistive technology is any item, piece of equipment, software, or product system that is used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities.
So, what is the big issue?
The big issue with assistive technology is we don't have enough funding in our school districts. Assistive technology benefits students, but many families and schools do not have the funds to provide the equipment, and families do not understand how to work it.
So, what would be the pros and cons?
The pros for assistive technology would be allowing students to work at their own pace, and it allows them to become more independent, as well as hopes for a higher level of education. But the cons are very costly, could cost thousands of dollars, which many school districts do not have. And training needs to occur to make sure that the technology is being used correctly. And technology is not fully reliable, so it makes that more difficult as well.
Yeah, that's understandable. So, who are the stakeholders?
In my opinion, the stakeholders would be the students and families of those that could benefit from assistive technology, because they're missing the good opportunity for their child to be able to become more independent and reach that higher level of education.
Alright, so overall, what is your opinion on the matter?
I think it's very important to have, but I think we need to make a better way to afford assistive technology, or think about ways to make it at home, such as communication boards and other software items that could benefit at a lower cost.
Alright, well, thank you, Grace, for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Our third and final guest we have this evening is Tiffany Hildebrandt discussing website evaluation. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you for
So,
having me.
Tiffany, what are the big ideas about website evaluation?
Well, to start out with, website evaluations are crucial when it comes to the basic, fundamentals of teaching and learning. It's important to perform these evaluations because students and teachers need to know the content that they're looking at. Like, they need to know that it's correct. So, when they're looking at these, they want to keep in mind that some websites might have false information.
Right.
So, and each website alone offers its own criteria and purpose. So after performing these evaluations, it kind of like clears up confusion, and the students and teachers will know if they should be used.
Okay, can you talk about the pros and cons of these evaluations?
Yep. So I think one of the pros about the students evaluating the websites on their own, because they have their own kind of concept that they can use called the 5 W's, which are who, what, where, when, and why. The students can easily apply these when looking at any website because they can simply evaluate the web pages by just thinking about like who wrote the pages, are they an expert in the field, what does the author say, like what's the author's purpose, when was the site created, where does the information come from, and like why is it useful. And then older students and teachers, they use pretty much the same criteria, but it's called the 5 criteria. And it's for like more specific details. Let's see. What are they called?
Stephanie, what are the 5 criteria?
The 5 criteria consists of accuracy, authority, objectivity, currency, and coverage.
Can you talk about the cons as well?
Yeah, I believe one of the cons is that these website evaluations are very time consuming. And the students and teachers need to know like what they're looking for, so it can be complicated if they don't understand like the 5 criteria or the 5 W's.
Who are the stakeholders?
Alright, well, there's many stakeholders, but mostly the students are at risk because they aren't familiar with the proper educational resources. And since the websites like Google search can be so misleading, that this can be a struggle for students because they don't know like which information is correct or incorrect. And just in general, like everyone can be at risk, including parents, teachers, and administrators.
Those are some good points. Can you tell us a little bit about your own opinion on website evaluation?
Well, I think as a future educator, I think we all should research and Google these websites and evaluate them ourselves because it would help the children out a lot more, and we can give them options about like which websites we can choose from. So I think that would like make it less confusing.
Right.
But I think website evaluations should be used. And you can have elementary students and older students do these evaluations, but they just need to know like the criteria to look for.
What changes would you make?
What changes? I would probably emphasize the 5 W's and the 5 criteria a little bit more and try to like make the children and students understand what they're asking for, so it would make it a lot more easier for them. So that's about it, I think.
Coming today, Tiffany.
Well, thank you for having me.
That's a wrap, folks. Thanks for tuning in tonight.